Panda. I got broads in Atlanta. Just took the lean in the family. Credit cards and the scammers. Hitting the licks in the band. Legacies.
I want to welcome you back to Black Site, and I want to talk to you about Byron Allen's lawsuit against Comcast, and now the Trump DOJ is now supporting Comcast against Byron Allen. Byron Allen is using the law of 1866, which was passed by Congress, and it is a companion bill to the 13th Amendment, which reaffirms that slaves of African American descent have equal justice under the law. This lawsuit is probably the most important lawsuit that we have had in the past 50 years because it basically tells us that the United States government and multinational corporations have been discriminating against African Americans for the past 400 years. This lawsuit, which is supported by the Trump DOJ, and I want to go back to something else, it was also supported by the Obama Justice Department. And you're going to say, why? Because the Obama Justice Department did not stop the merger of Comcast and Time Warner. And this whole thing with Comcast that we're going through right now could not have happened without support from the National Action Network, the Urban League, and the NAACP. People like Al Sharpton, Mark Morial, and many others signed a memorandum with Comcast. Al Sharpton, he received a show, which he's on MSNBC. Mark Morial received a membership on the board, and also Comcast sits on the board of the Urban League. You have not heard of mere breaches to Byron Allen's lawsuit from the Urban League, from the National Action Network, nor the NAACP, because many of these so-called civil rights organizations that's supposed to support the African American community are not supporting Byron Allen. We heard a brief statement from the Congressional Black Caucus going after the Trump DOJ. But they did not mention Comcast because Comcast gives money to the Congressional Black Caucus. This lawsuit is the key to ADOS receiving reparations. And which really surprises me the most is how quiet everybody is about this lawsuit. Many people across this nation don't like Byron Allen because he has a white wife. But that doesn't matter in this situation. You never know who God sends to fight your fight for you. Byron Allen is one of the few black people in this country who have the money to fight against Comcast. And when you think about this whole situation, which was reaffirmed by the 9th District Court, that said that Byron Allen was right. Remember that he has already settled with AT&T Universe. That's done. But Comcast is the one taking this to the Supreme Court. And you notice that the Trump DOJ is supporting Comcast. And you would say, why would the Trump DOJ support Comcast? And Comcast is one of the biggest haters of the Trump administration. When you add in NBC and MSNBC and NBC Universal. Because it is institutionalized racism, but it's about being on code. They will always stick together to come after us. Now they may have their fights between each other. But when it comes to us, they come together like Voltron and try and destroy a good man like Byron Allen. But you also have to understand that without help of people that so-called represents us, this could not go on. There would be no lawsuit if it wasn't because of Byron. Do you think Al Sharpton would have brought a lawsuit? No. You think Mark Morial and the Urban League would have brought a lawsuit? You think the NAACP would have brought a lawsuit? No. Because they all been taking that 40 pieces of silver. And the Trump Justice Department knows where this all is going. When you bring up that law, that means that you're filing a discrimination claim also against the United States government. And they know when this all flushes out, if Byron Allen wins, more lawsuits are coming. And not only more lawsuits are coming, they're coming against multinational corporations that participated in slavery, like Chase and some of the other railroad companies that need to be held accountable for what they did. See, this lawsuit is making a lot of people uncomfortable for the simple fact is that you cannot discriminate to somebody for 400 years and not be held accountable. And that's the big fear. That once you get through the court system and they saying that you're held accountable, here comes a dollar figure. If the Supreme Court lays down the land and that dollar figure comes out, not only will it come out for Byron Allen, but one day it's going to come out for ADOS. And this is why the Trump DOJ is fighting so hard. But you have to understand, at that particular time, while this whole thing was going through the system, now you got to understand this. He didn't file this lawsuit when Trump was in office. He filed this lawsuit when Obama was in office. In the Obama DOJ, it happens that it got to the Supreme Court when Trump is president. If you remember, Byron Allen was also ripping the Obama administration because Obama was so tightly connected with Comcast. See, you have to understand, companies like Comcast and the federal government, they have to have people working with them to keep this discrimination going. And we have to start looking at people like Al Sharpton, Mark Morial, and the NAACP. If we can't wash out those organizations, we need to cancel them. Because they're not working for this community. You need to have access to these cable companies to spread your language, to spread your word. And if you got representatives who are not representing you, who are actually going against the community, they need to be voted out of office. These organizations should be canceled, and nobody should listen to them. This is the perfect lawsuit at the perfect time, 400 years. And I believe he's going to win this lawsuit. Because if you look at the law is the law. It talks about discrimination, reaffirming equal rights. If you a justice on that Supreme Court and you notice conservatives are supposed to be the ones that go straight by law, if you look at the law, Byron Allen wins. And we win. And all we have to do now is set up the negotiations to when that check is finally cut. And our ancestors are finally given their day. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site Underground News You Can Use. Hope you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, share this video. If you'd like to make a donation, go to PayPal or hit the Streamlabs button.